Is it wrong for my husband to demand sexy time even though I don't want to? Disclaimers in always Storytime, send me on Instagram. My husband and I have been married for 6 months. Unfortunately, our marriage was arranged by our families, and so far I have not been able to fall in love with him. I come from a very strict religion. My family and my husband's family believe that I should obey him, and it's been really hard for me to adjust to this. Before getting married, I had more freedom, but now I'm mostly home all day waiting for my husband to come home. I cook all of his meals and serve him while he's eating, and even if I'm not eating, he expects me to be sitting there with him. My husband is a very rich man, so he lets me go shopping whenever I want, but that's something I can't even do by myself. He always sends someone with me to go shopping, so I take advantage and buy really expensive designer things. Sometimes I spend $5,000 on a shopping day. This really never seems to bother him. Another thing I don't really like is that he rarely ever speaks to me. We have small talk every now and then, but we don't talk about important things, especially before we got married. We'd only seen each other a few times. I thought we'd have a really good relationship and be friends, but no. Sometimes I'll ask him what his day was like, and he just says it was fine. Other times I try to talk to him about his job, but he never really gives me a full answer, so honestly, I don't even know what he does. But my biggest problem with him is something else. He demands, you know what, sexy time, and I never really want to. I'm not in love with him, and I'm not really attracted to him. On our wedding night, my family really pressured me into doing it, and it was horrible. And now whenever he wants it, I defend myself and it turns into a big fight. He even called my parents to complain. Part 2 is it wrong that my husband demands sexy time even though I don't want to? Disclaimers is not my story time, send me on Instagram. That's when he called my parents and complained to them that I wouldn't do it with him. He took me to my parents' house the following day. My dad was really angry with me and told me that I needed to obey my husband. I told him I never wanted to get married to begin with and that I didn't love him or was even attracted to him. My parents clearly didn't understand me. I went home and my husband basically coerced me into doing it. And it's not even like it's fine. He doesn't do anything to please me. It's all about him when we're doing it. One night he asked me to do it and I refused. He got so angry he told me that he didn't need to ask for my permission. I basically punched him in the face and since then he hasn't touched me. But then I felt so responsible and I actually apologized. Even though I was just defending myself. Everything's back to the way it was. I just have to do whatever he wants. All our friends think that we're incredibly happy. I couldn't take it anymore, so I opened up to one of my best friends. I told her everything that was going on and she told me that I should just leave my husband. But with my religion and my family, it would be really hard to do that. Then she told me that I should just take on a lover. And the idea kind of stuck in my head. Let me backtrack a little. When I was in college, I had met somebody. But nothing ever happened because I knew my parents wouldn't accept him. I reached out to him on Facebook and asked him how he was. And he happened to be arriving to my city soon. I asked him if he wanted to meet up and he said yes. And what happens next is crazy. When we saw each other, we instantly fell in love. Part 3 is up. Is it wrong for my husband to demand sexy time even though I don't want to? Disclaimers in my story time, send me on Instagram. When I saw my old friend, it was like love at first sight. I could tell he was so happy to see me and we talked for hours. And the only reason I was able to go was because I told my husband that I was going to hang out with my best friend. So my best friend wasn't actually even with me. After that, my friend, let's call him Rob. Rob and I hung out a few more times. And eventually, I opened up to him about what was happening with my husband. I explained to him I had an arranged marriage and that I wasn't in love with my husband. He also told me that I should divorce my husband. But then he told me why. He said that since college, he's always had feelings for me. That means he's had feelings for me for 3 years. Well, long story short, he's my lover now. And nobody knows. Only my best friend. We see each other 3 times a week. I always go when my husband's at work. And I tell him that I'm going to be with my best friend. And Rob and I meet at his place. And I'm the happiest I've ever been. I know that this is totally wrong, but I'm finally living. Of course, my husband still demands you know what, but I'm able to bear it now because I know I have someone else who actually loves me. I know this can't last forever though. I wish I could just fall in love with my husband, but it's not that easy. He's always so demanding, and he doesn't understand that his behavior is not normal. And I barely speak to my parents now. I've only been seeing Rob for a month. He's gotta go back home eventually. What should I do?